Do you have far too much yellow squash and don't know what to do with it all? Even if you don't have this problem, but you do love summer squash, here is a smoky, cheesy summer squash casserole that everyone will love. We will start by prepping the squash. Now, as this is summer squash, just a quick scrub in the sink in cold water is all that is needed. As the skin is very thin on these, we won't be peeling them. I split the squash and scoop out the seed and the punky stuff from the center, and then cut the remaining flesh into half-inch cubes. Do this to about 3 pounds of squash and put the cubes in a large bowl. Add to this a cup of cut-up onions, coarsely chopped. Sprinkle with approximately a 1/4 cup of olive oil and add salt and pepper to taste. Be sure to mix everything thoroughly so that all sides of the squash are coated with oil, salt, and pepper. And then we'll proceed to put it on the rack. I'll place it on a baking tray. I'm going to place it up here so we can roast it in the oven. We want to roast it in the oven so that all sides get roasted. That's why we're putting it up. And also to allow some of the excess moisture that will come out of this squash to go in the pan below. And we'll put that into the oven at 400 degrees for about 20 minutes. While the squash bakes in the oven, I'm going to chop up about a teaspoon of fresh thyme. Now you can use dried just fine, but I had this in my herb garden. Now I have here a block of smoked cheddar and another block of smoked pepper jack cheese, and we need to turn these into shreds. Those are both Smoky Dave's, smoked in the cold smoker, so let's shred them now. There we go. Now we can make our cheese sauce using 1 cup of Smoky Dave's smoked cheddar cheese, a 1/2 cup of smoked pepper jack, also Smoky Dave's, 1/2 cup of mayonnaise, your favorite brand, whatever that might be, 8 ounces of sour cream, and then finally to that we'll add our 1 teaspoon of fresh thyme, or you can use dried. And then the final ingredient is 2 eggs. This will help bind everything together, and we'll mix this thoroughly using a whisk. And once that's thoroughly mixed, we'll set that aside and go get our squash out of the oven. The squash is done and quite hot, so I'm going to use this little colander here to get rid of any excess moisture that might still be on the squash, but it pretty much didn't have anything in it. It was nicely baked on the outside, but still firm. The onions seem to have dropped through the grate onto the bottom, but that's okay. We'll just scrape them in, and then we'll get ready to make the casserole. You can go online and get this great shirt. You can fascinate a woman with a piece of cheese, and other great shirts that I'm selling, such as, if you're gonna cut the cheese, just make sure it's Smoky Dave's. I just wanted to say I appreciate each and every one of you, and if you're new to the channel, please think about subscribing, hitting the notification bell, and leaving a comment down below. I read every comment. And until next time, don't forget, it's no joke, everything's better with smoke. Now it's time to actually make our casserole. So using an oven-safe ceramic casserole dish, we will combine our roasted squash and onions with our cheese sauce. Mix it up thoroughly, then make the casserole even across the top. Now that the casserole is even, we can dust it with some breadcrumbs. And then, once we've got a nice coating of breadcrumbs across the top, we'll finish it off with a little Smokey Dave smoked Parmesan using a fine shred and a little fresh ground black pepper. Now then, we just pop this in the oven at 350 degrees for 45 minutes. Or until nicely browned on top.
That's pretty good.
Ah, yes, very funny. Well, everyone, this is a delicious squash meal. If you have a lot of extra squash from your garden, this is the perfect way to get rid of a whole bunch of it in a delicious way. I encourage you to make it. And again, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. And I want to thank everyone and remind you, it's no joke, everything's better with smoke.